What is the value of healing the human heart? So today we want to talk about this subject. What is the value in healing the human heart, the human traumas, the human sadnesses, the human lack of clarity? So why would you want to spend time and give time to your inner being when your outer being is constantly asking for your attention? So why does it matter in a human life? So we want to explain you that you are emotional and spiritual beings that are having an incarnation on planet Earth in a human body. So you're not the reverse. You're not a human body having possibly a spiritual connection, yes or no. So it is not a yes or no. It is really a yes. You are spiritual beings. That's all you are. You happen to be incarnated in a human body at this moment in time. So you think that that is it. You think that your world is in your head. Your entire world for you is in your body and your physicality and in your thoughts and in your brain and in your head and in your emotions. But there is so much more than that is accessible to each human being. There is the psyche, and there is the connection to the entire universe available for each human being on planet Earth. So by what we mean by that is that there is a kind of a tunnel. You could imagine a tunnel that you can get yourself in this tunnel and explore the entire universal field. You can get yourself propelled in this tunnel and explore and receive information. Receive information that has value for you is the most important information. The information that has value for you, for your life. You have this capacity, all of you. You don't use this capacity. So this capacity is activated like a muscle in your body. If you're lying down in bed all day long and you do not use your muscles will atrophy and shrink. And the day that you will want to use them, it will be very painful. But if you start using them slowly, in a month or two, you will notice a real improvement, right? So this capacity, this psychic capacity, this telepathic capacity, this know-how capacity is the same thing as a muscle. It needs to be exercised. So by this we mean that you need to give it a little bit of time, of your time every day. So how do you do that? It is to begin, it would be in quiet time. So you begin by having quiet moments of just breathing in and out and focusing on the breath coming in and out of your body, creating a sensation of your life force. So you start like that, very simple. And then you say hello to yourself. You point to yourself, or you give yourself your full name, you speak it up, you say hello. So you're starting to acknowledge that there is something inside of you that has life force, that is animated. Something magical, something pure, something beautiful, and something that you know very little of. Although it is you, you know it so little. You haven't given it much attention because all the outer life, the news, everything that is happening on the outside is taking priority always over yourself, your existence, your being alive, your life force. The simple fact that you're alive. Nothing more than that. You have your daily chores to do, but you also have your stories that take over your brain. Your family stories, your work stories, your romantic stories, your lack of financial in the bank that supports your well-being stories, anything. It could be the lack of health. Or it could also be depression, which is always going to be referred by us as a lack of connection, of true connection to the one who you really are, that soul, that essence, that spirit animating your soul, animating your body. So when there is a lack of connection with that, a connection, by connection we mean an interaction, a real connection, emerging, becoming one with the soul, becoming one with your spirit, becoming one together, not separating it. That your spirit, your animated spirit, your spiritual self gets disconnected from the self that is in the body, that you have a name and you have a job title and you're married or not married and you have kids, so you have a family, or you're the daughter or the son of somebody. That is your physical identity, but we're talking about merging with your spirit, spiritual identity. Who is that soul? And is that soul really well integrated within that personality of yours? That's the important question. Because depression comes, of course, it can amplify when it has not been treated at the very, 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 very beginning. But depression comes when there is a disconnect, but an experience that has been disconnected, not a theory. You see, that's the very important point, is that the experience of experiencing that soul, that spirit that is you, that is your essence, that is your divine self, your sacred self, we could say, when the connection has been blurred by the daily activities for too long, and all the terrestrial stories take over your life, then that disconnection happens. And at the beginning, it just feels like maybe not so comfortable, maybe lack of joy or lack of clarity. But if you do not take care of it at the very beginning and start assessing what is the situation, what happened, what on the outer world triggered you to disconnect to your inner world. You always have to ask that question when you don't feel 100% present and 100% complete and 100% in full love and clarity and joy. You have to ask the question to the universe: what in my outer life is creating a disconnect with my inner world, with my inner self, my sacred self? Listen to the answer. Once you've asked a question to the universe, you can move your body, move your hands a little bit if it helps you. For some people, a little bit of movement will help. For other people, being in total silence and lack of movement will help them better. Some people need to be dancing or moving to connect to their higher selves, to the universal creative intelligence. So any way you can connect, but start asking questions. What in my outer world, in my life, as me, personality, whoever you are, what is creating friction and disconnect with my inner self, the potential that is not fully integrated with my connection to source or to the universe? And if it tells you, because you get a sensation, you get a picture in your brain, in your third eye of something. Oh, it was the discussion I had with my wife this morning, or it was my bosses who told me something I didn't like yesterday. And so you notice what it was or what happened that burst your bubble of joy. And then once you've noticed what it is, it might be an ancient problem since your childhood. So that's why it's so important to ask questions, because it could have come from your childhood. My lack of connection with my own family, feeling like I don't belong, feeling like I am not part of this tribe, and living an entire childhood and adulthood, early adulthood, feeling disconnected from the family unit, feeling different. And that can create a complex, a sadness, a deep-rooted sadness of not belonging that you still haven't healed. You see, that's why we started this conversation as why is healing so important? Because the word healing is getting so mainstream that it starts to lose its power because everybody is using it for just about anything. So it is a word like any other word. If there could be another word that signifies it better, that would be great. But take it for its fair value. The word healing is important for you because it brings you back in the past to notice something in your childhood or in your teenage years or yesterday at work or this morning with your spouse that created that disconnect. And that disconnect affects that feeling that the human being has throughout that day. Because the human beings are emotional beings. You're living on planet Earth, which is the emotional planet. You have emotions, no matter if you're male or female, or if you are a very alpha male or a very alpha female, full of power in your daily activities, you're still an emotional being because that's how you are made. That's how you were created. So the emotional being inside of you takes over and calcifies that feeling of joy, brings confusion, sadness, lack of clarity, and lack of joy. It brings heaviness, a heavy feeling for you. Instead of being light and excited about this day and about the possibility of being alive this day. One more day, I'm alive. One more day. What am I going to do with this beautiful day? That is when you're in the flow, when you're actively co-creating with the universe, is when you're light and happy and feeling joy and feeling that everything is possible because you're full of love. And the fact that you're full of love, you're loving everything and everyone. You have more than enough. You have more than enough for everyone, for every being, for every ant, for every flower. You smile, you give joy and love, and even your financial gains, and you're generous with others because you're in that heart area that where love flows and multiplies itself by itself. But when the reverse happens, you feel like an engine that needs oil and you start thinking, but how do I do this? This is so heavy. How do I change? How do I become light again? So that's why healing is so important, because healing involves many different modalities. You can search for the modality that works best for you. But healing is about going backwards, pinpointing what triggered this heaviness and sadness, or this lack of living a truthful life where you have to constantly be lying in order to get away with something. So those lies, they end up creating like a feeling of heaviness in your life, because you constantly have to use your brain to figure out how to get away with the lies that you created, and how to get your own way. And so your ego is on overdrive at that moment. The connection with your livelihood, with your life essence, is full of ideas that you need this because of that, and you're doing all these transactions in your head. And so, we can't judge you for anything, and we refuse to judge for anything that you are doing, because everything is an experience. But the sail of the boat, you are the captain of the boat, and your sail can be placed back in the correct position to take the north wind and go faster and easier. That life can be easier when your sail is aligned with the wind. Your life is in the flow, and it's easy to be happy. And so when you notice that you are doing something again and again and again the same way, you can't get out of that system that you created, of that life that you created for yourself. Just remember that you are the captain of your ship, and you can change. People say that human beings don't change. That is not true. Human beings are constantly changing. They're constantly in evolution. The human life is about change. Every day you get older, you are changing. Your emotions are different. The obstacles that you receive that day are certainly different. When you think everything is going your way, you get one phone call from the bank or from your lawyer or whatever, and it changes your day completely. And your perspective of your life, it changes it completely. So change is always a constant. Human beings do change. They do evolve. The soul is here for the purpose of soul evolution. So the soul is consistently changing and evolving, and you are going with it. So are you getting deeper in the mud, or are you getting lighter and more joyful because you are accessing a life filled with love and truth and well-being and generosity and giving and receiving and loving every part of your life? So healing modalities are available for everyone. It can be very inexpensive because it can just be by yourself through breath. Through conscious breath, asking the universe questions. What triggered my heart for so much sadness today? Why am I feeling so sad today? What triggered it? And then you receive the answer. And then you start asking more questions. You can do this by yourself. You receive an answer, a vision, a word, and you say, how true is that word? How true is that situation? Is it just invented with my brain? My monkey brain invented this whole situation. How true is this situation? Am I really doomed? Am I really bankrupt forever? Is my life over? There is always help for the one who asks questions and for the one who begs for help. There is always help. There is always a door opening, and then you cross that portal, you open that door, you cross that portal, and you are on the other side of that vision, and you see that the whole world is open again, filled with possibilities. But how do you get to these new possibilities? Is by accessing yourself, your inner self, your heart, to open that door. If you want to visualize it as a door, open that door, cross that door, and then see what else is there for me. What else is there? Have I experienced everything? Have I experienced the level of love where I can make peace with every single human being on planet Earth? The ones who have loved me, the ones who don't love me anymore, the ones who have even hate for me, dislike for me, and the ones that I don't even know and I judge. Can I fall in love with all of these human beings, all of these animals, the ones who hurt me, the dog that hurt me when I was a child that I'm so afraid now of encountering a similar dog? Can I fall in love with that creature, with that heart, with that soul, and heal the parts of me that created a new story of pain, of disillusion, and of lack of lightness? So go back there every time that you need it. Every time you feel that you lost the north wind, you lost it. You are the captain of your ship, so bring back the veil, and bring it back. Get in that flow again. Get in that trust. Not everything that your mind perceives as true is ultimately true. This is really important. Your mind creates a lot of stories, of dilemmas that are not true. If there is a hell on earth, it is the mind of a human being. There is no hell in the skies waiting for you. It doesn't need to be there because you're experiencing that hell inside your own brain every single day if you don't notice that you are in that darkness. If you're working your shadow work, it is okay, because it is very empowering for the soul to dig into the dark shadow work and to notice, what is it that creates fear in me? Where is my trauma? And go at it like a bull, and go forward like a bull would go to a red flag, and just go for it. Any fear that you have, any trauma, is created in your mind, because the universe always has your back. You must remember that. It doesn't mean that the universe will do everything in the way that you most like it, so that you can become the little pampered prince or princess of this planet. It doesn't mean that. The universe has your back. When you're supposed to go through a lesson for the evolution of your soul, the universe will provide the tools for you to access that lesson. That's simple. If that lesson is trust in your gut feeling, you're going to be placed in circumstances, in situations that are going to be extremely intense to see if you do trust in your own instinct. And if you fail, that experience will come again in another form or shape. So the universe always has your back. If there's a lesson that you signed up that you're supposed to do, the universe will always provide the people, the situation, and the time for you to go through that lesson. So every hardship that you're going through is because you wanted that challenge. So you're never a victim of anything. You challenge yourself to learn more as a soul coming in an incarnation in a human body. So if you challenge yourself, I want to take full advantage of this incarnation of this life, and I want all the lessons. I want to live 10 lives in one life. If you challenge yourself like that, then of course the universe will bring you a lot of challenges, because you wanted to access the information, the knowledge for the soul of 10 years, 10 times, 10 incarnations in one incarnation. So of course you're going to have a very intense life. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that you challenge yourself. So you are a very courageous soul. And at one point, if you could look at yourself in the mirror, and instead of just shaving your face and putting makeup on your face if you're a lady, if you could just look at yourself in the mirror and have a little interchange with your eyes and say, wow, I am proud of you. Look at everything that you've done. You've gone through so much. You're still here. You have a good heart. You want to be in that place of peace. You put that first as a priority. You have a good heart. You're generous with other people. Just let yourself know that you're proud of yourself, of all that you have done for yourself. And these are not accomplishments. These are adventures that your soul needed to do, and you went through them, good or bad, painful or not. Maybe you went through cancer and you underwent all those horrible treatments, and you are still alive, and you could just say to yourself, I'm so proud of you, of every effort that you're doing to extend this incarnation as much as possible, so you can squeeze the juice out of this incredible possibility of being alive in a human body. It is an amazing gift. Don't take it for granted. It is an amazing gift. To be alive every day is it. You have access to everything, to darkness and to light, to shadow work and to light work. You have access to beauty in this paradise. You can dance, you can sing, you can feel, you can smile, you can cook, you can love. You have access to so much beauty. And if you don't have access to any of that because you are incarcerated in a prison, you still have access to your breath and to the silence within. You always have access. Even if you're in a hospital suffering, you are still alive. So you have access to your breath, to become a feeling machine. What else can be better than that, to just become a feeling machine. Thank you for listening. We love you. We bless you. And the universe has your back. Always remember that. Thank you.